Hello, welcome to another episode of The Bitter Upper Lip. My name is Tyler. Thank you very much for joining me once again. So, today on our beer review, we're going to keep drifting south. We were at Augusta last review, and then we're moving through LaGrange, and we're going to keep going south. We're going to leave the state of Georgia. And today we are reviewing from Cigar City Brewing out of Tampa in Florida, the Guayabera Citra Pale Ale. This ale comes in at 5.5% ABV. It has an SRM score of 8, and its IBUs come in 50. And half my family is from Florida. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. A Guayabera is a style of shirt that's very, very popular in Latin America, but of course is also very popular in Florida. It's essentially a style of shirt that is meant to keep you cool when it's obviously very hot. It's usually signified by having some really cool ornate patterns on it, a bunch of pockets. It's supposed to be a very formal but also a very practical garment. So kudos to Cigar City for nominating a beer that signifies keeping yourself cool, collected, and comfortable and putting it on something like a pale ale. For those of you who don't know, Cigar City regionally is a very well-renowned brewery. They put out great brews. They have a whole line of beers that are pretty much built for Florida weather. So if you're going out deep sea fishing or you're sitting on the dock, they have a variety of beers that fulfill sitting out somewhere when it's 100 degrees and 90% humidity. So I have never had this beer. This is the first time I'm ever trying this. It looks pretty fresh. I'm going to show you the bottom of the can. It looks like it was canned on February 29th of this year, so it's a little over a month old. This has been out of the fridge for about 5 minutes. So let's go ahead and get into a glass and see what this is all about. An interesting characteristic of this beer, in case you didn't catch it in the name, is this is only hopped with Citra hops. This is a single hopped pale ale. You see it's got a nice orange color to it. It's almost kind of like a little gemstone, like amber. Hazy, not looking like it's completely unfiltered, but I can't see through it at all. Nice tight bubbles on the head, probably about a little less than a finger of pretty casual pour, not a hard pour whatsoever. Yeah. All right. Beautiful beer. Let's take a whiff. Yeah. So definitely getting that very characteristic citra hop smell from it, which is just pretty much straight citrus. It smells like mandarin oranges is the first thing I'm getting. There isn't that like deep kind of citrus. Like I'm not getting a grapefruit or a lemon or anything out of it. Yeah, it smells like a clementine, a mandarin orange, a tangerine, a very sweet citrus smell to it. Slight herby quality to it, more of kind of a grassy kind of smell. Almost like a dill quality, but not very strong, not like you would get on like a pickle or something, but there is kind of a small, like astringent herby smell going on to it. I'm not really getting much of a malt smell out of it. It's probably due to that Citra just really striking hard on this. So, yep, definitely smells as delicious as it looks. So, let's get a sip. Cheers. That is sticky icky. if you know what I mean. Yeah, definitely the taste reflects the aroma a bit. Much of the front of the tongue, I'm getting a bit of the of hop bitterness, probably from like the citra hops carry that very high. I think it's alpha acid level. I think they're a more acidic hop than most varieties are, which is why people like using them in a lot of pale ales and IPAs. But bitterness at the front is more toward the back of the tongue that I'm starting to get the fruity qualities, and it's definitely tangerine. That is the predominant flavor that I'm tasting. Again, not like a grapefruit. Good malt backbone. The mouthfeel, probably about a medium low if I had to give it. Doesn't feel anything like a Pilsner, anything like that. Definitely feels like you're tasting more of an ale. Help to carry that hop flavor a bit. Not really sweet. Again, I don't know if it's with the cloying of the aroma that I'm getting that sweet fruity character from the tangerines in conjunction with the hops, but it doesn't have a, to me it doesn't have a sweetness that I would attribute more toward like the malt, even though I know that's where the sweetness is coming from. A little bit of a lingering finish on it. And the finish to me is actually one of my favorite parts because, again, it's not really until the back of the tongue and the finish that you're getting that kind of explosion of fruit coming out with the tangerine. It's kind of like a little surprise. Like right when you think you're done, you just get that boom, like you're in a grove somewhere. This is a very, again, to me, having family from Florida and being there growing up, this tastes like Florida in a good way. Like it's very refreshing. Yeah, that's delicious. One thing I do like about when you're taking single hop varietal beers like this is one, I think it's a very educational way to educate your palate on being able to diversify and formulate how different hops will impart different flavors on beer, but also stylistically to see what a single hop can do in transforming a beer. Like I wouldn't drink this and call this an IPA by any stretch. It definitely doesn't have that lingering flavor that a lot of IPAs have, where you just feel like your mouth is, kind of a little bit oily because of the high hop presence. You don't get that from this, but all the same, because Citra is such a virulent style of hop, it definitely puts a certain pop on it that I don't think you would taste with a lot of other types of pale ales that might use a variety of different things. So I've had single hop pale ales before, like Citra, like Zombie Dust from Three Floyds come to mind. I think that is a single hop pale ale where they use Citra. And similarly, this has a nice kind of ump to it as well. So altogether, delicious beer. I would say with any of these types of beers that rely so heavily on a hop presence, you definitely want to try to get it fresh. I mean, I got this, obviously, it was canned on February 29th, and this was refrigerated when I found it too. You should be able to see, at least I had, was the date was on the box. So you will be able to identify it that way. So I would say with beers like this, where feel like you're paying because you're trying to get that hop profile, do yourself a favor and obviously common sense, try to get as fresh as possible and refrigerate it if need be. Great beer, Cigar City. Love what you do. It's delicious. It's definitely something that I will keep an eye out for on tap. Um, I'm not really thinking of any kind of food pairings necessarily. I mean, I guess in one way, this beer just kind of stands on its own nicely. Like, this is definitely a beer I could see just grabbing and wanting to drink and not really having to pair with anything. I could definitely see myself grabbing a six pack of this if I was heading out on a boat, if I knew if I was going to be out in the sun for 6+ hours. I think this beer would be great for that. And again, keep in mind, it's only 5.5 ABV, so it's very sessionable. So altogether, I'd recommend it. Give it a try, guys. If you're big onto hops, it's a cool little adventure, cool little exploration. And as always, I will leave information about the brewery down in the comments below. If you like what you saw, feel free to leave me a comment. Have you tried this beer? What do you think of it? What do you think of Cigar City? And if you want to stick around more and get notifications, be sure to hit a like and subscribe to the channel below. So until next time, keep your mind sharp, your heart clean, and your upper lip bitter. We'll see you next time.